Doctors making good on their threat to withdraw their services. One resident blasting the Ministry of Agriculture for the confiscation of her imported meat. And see what our Megan Shepherd is up to in the latest Grand Exploration series.
The Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shashina Roll-Farquharson. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news, doctors making good on their threat to withdraw their services from the public health system. The strike follows a protracted back and forth between the union and the PHA over salaries, medical insurance, and working conditions. Tonight, our Italia Hall tells us how this action is impacting healthcare on Grand Bahama.
The industrial action continues, and as a result of the withdrawal of services by the Consultant Physician Staff Association, several adjustments are being made to clinic operations within the Grand Bahama Health Services. According to a statement issued by local health officials, the surgical and orthopedic clinics on Grand Bahama have been canceled until further notice, and persons holding appointments for these clinics are asked to contact the hospital to reschedule their appointments. Patients scheduled for elective surgeries are asked to contact the Paris Plaza to confirm their scheduled date. But officials say emergency cases will continue to be performed at this time, and services in the Accident and Emergency Urgent Care Center and the community health clinics remain in operation. Now, outside of the Rand Memorial Hospital, we caught up with a resident of Bimini who traveled to Grand Bahama for medical attention, but she says she was told that her appointment was rescheduled for December 5th.
To the clinic for appointment this morning to see Dr. Lockhart. My appointment was for 8 o'clock. I was there after 7. We were told like about 9 or shortly after that clinic has been canceled. They said that the doctors are on strike.
She calls the delay a disappointing situation.
I also have therapy going on this week, but it is just so amazing to see that you have to be traveling back and forth. I don't know what the internal issues are, but the government need to really do whatever they have to do it speedily, because my job is on the line. I stay here now with a doctor's certificate, not to return to work. I am scheduled already to return to work on Friday. Now, if I stay here, who knows what's going to happen? But I don't have monies to go to Bimini and come back again for December 5th.
Meanwhile, health officials say they will continue to keep the public informed as it relates to resumption of services. Italia Hall, ZNS Network News.
Thank you, Tally. Well, it is understood that all specialty clinics scheduled for tomorrow will proceed as scheduled as sufficient medical support is in place. These clinics include antenatal, pediatric, medical, and anesthesiology. Another controversy tonight. ZNS News has been inundated with calls from irate residents claiming that their imported meat have been confiscated by the Ministry of Agriculture. One such resident, former Chief Councillor Shavita Campbell. Campbell telling ZNS News that on Sunday she traveled to the United States via airplane and purchased a ham and a turkey, which was then sent back to Grand Bahama via the boat, and requested that her father pick up the items. Campbell says that when she returned that evening, she was informed that her items had been confiscated by the Department of Agriculture because there was no photosanitary certificate or import permit.
I would have went there 9 o'clock in the morning to find out, okay, what do I need to do to get these items back? By 10:14, I had an empty bag given to me. By say 1, 2 o'clock in the day, keep in mind I've been asking who to talk to me, let me know what's going on with this whole process. By 1:30, after speaking with the officer who took me around the Mayberry tree, it's destroyed. Okay, allegedly destroyed. You can't be inhumane in a time like this. This is a time for us to educate the populace. If we have acts that are on the books and we want to enforce them, I applaud you to enforce them. However, let's educate our population. Let's educate them as to what are the process, what are the procedures, what are your rights. We have rights as a Bahamian.
Now, Campbell says that this incident drove her to do her own research on the act governing the importation of meat. She says that what is written on paper contradicts what is actually happening to her as well as other residents.
Free spree to find out what is the lack of photosanitary certificate. A lack of a photosanitary certificate clearly is an export document that wherever you purchase your meat from, you get a certificate from that location. I guess to say that it's a good meat and it's worthy for import. As well as the lack of permit. The lack of permit basically is a cost of $2. So if you're leaving the country, you ought to say, I intend to bring back meat. So you go to the department, you complete what your possible intentions might be. However, there's a document that's in the Department of Agriculture that clearly states that if you have 50 pounds of poultry, 50 pounds of mutton, 50 pounds of pork, 50 pounds of beef, you don't need a permit.
Now, the Department of Agriculture calling a press conference late this afternoon to clarify what they are calling misconceptions as it relates to the importation of meat into the country. Acting Officer in Charge Michael Flowers says that this policy has been in effect for many years and the department is now enforcing the rules.
As it pertains to personal consumption and the importation of meat, householders are entitled to import a total sum of 50 pounds of meat without an import permit. However, they must utilize a viable bona fide invoice from a reputable distributor. That would be Whole Foods, Sam's Club, or Walmart, so that we know that the food is fit for consumption. The meat must also be accompanied by the person or party importing the meat as well. Meat importations for special events such as weddings, funerals, fundraising events need to be accompanied by a permit, a meat certificate, and the invoice of purchase, and the total amount will be 10 cases per person or party.
And here's what you need to know if you plan to import meat for commercial purposes.
Commercially should be accompanied by a business license, certificate of good standing, permit, meat certificate, and the invoice for that particular order. I'd also like to mention that all permits should be procured before an order is placed, not on the day of or after the shipment has arrived. Please allow permit applications a minimum of 48 hours to be processed, and all imports shall be subject to an inspection by an agricultural officer from the department.
Now, failure to comply can result in the seizure of your imported meat. And this story is close to home. The Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas Northern Service saluting 3 of its long-serving employees today as they head into retirement. A special luncheon was held in their honor, and top officials out of the nation's capital joined in the celebration. Italia Hall reports.
The Director of Radio, Valencia Bartlett, Director of Northern Service, Ricardo Lightbourne, and Senior Supervisor Judith Dawkins were all honored in grand style during a ceremony at the Grand Lucine Resort. Former news anchor, Parliamentary Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister, with responsibilities for broadcasting, Pakeisha Parker Edgecombe, reminiscing on her time spent at ZNS Northern Service, thanking the 3 individuals for the role they played in her development.
As you're about to exit the Northern Service, your contribution is appreciated. I realize that in working, we are all challenged on the job front at all sectors. But I realize also that when we work with purpose and passion, we may retire from a job, but we would never ever retire from passion. And I think even with you leaving ZNS Northern Service, that you will continue to exemplify all that you would have done within these walls.
Bartlett has been known as the female voice of radio for many years, Lightbourne as an iconic sports broadcaster in the region, and Dawkins as a leader in sales and marketing. General Manager Kaylisa DeVoe-Isaacs congratulating and thanking the trio for their many contributions.
Those of us who've had the opportunity to work with you, and there are some who've had the chance to work much longer than I have, but from what I've learned and from the things you've taught me, I want to let you know that the memories I will treasure, those that I have, and I'm sure everyone here in the North will say the same and say that they have special and fond memories of all of you. This is not a time, I don't think, for us to be sad, but for us to celebrate the legacy that you leave behind at ZNS.
Bartlett has 43 years of service, Dawkins 36, and Lightbourne with 27. Executive Chairman Michael Smith commending the three for the role they played in building the Northern Service.
I hope that you take the opportunity to become involved in a lot of other things, and you can broaden your mind, broaden your perspectives, and broaden your hobbies and things like that. And believe me, you will enjoy retirement.
The chairman also announced a digital upgrade for ZNS Northern Service that is set to take place early next year. Presentations were then made to the honorees. We here at ZNS Northern Service thank you all for your invaluable service, and we wish you all the best in your future endeavors. It's Halia Hall, ZNS Network News.
Thank you, Talia. Definitely three of the best to ever do it. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Stay with us. There's more news right after this break.